All right, hey guys. This is the last day of our season, and we wanted to do a kind of a wrap-up video for you guys, a little fireside chat about what went well this year, what didn't work so well, some of the funnier things that happened, and just kind of close the season all in one neat little package for you. Um,
Yeah, seems the best way to wrap up the season is remind you guys to like and subscribe so you get notified when we come back in the spring, because we probably won't be making videos over the winter months. Not much gold mining and dredging to do when the water's solid instead of liquid. So yeah, I guess we'll start off with the new boat and in the old spot where the 4-inch was dredging last season.
yeah,
We did all right. I think last season we ended up with like an ounce and a half, and 1 ounce of that being one single nugget.
right.
And we were quite excited about our 2 or 3 gram trips, and the 6-inch just covers so much more ground that we were, blessed with a really good couple of early trips. I think we ended up with like 10 or 14 on the first trip, and then another quarter
7,
ounce on
yeah,
the second trip.
yeah.
And that's when we started moving upstream out of where the good gold was.
We just assumed that the gold was going to stay consistent, just following the bedrock, and I think that we ran into just where we were just getting flood gold that was maybe over the course of, I don't know, 20 years or something like that, since the 80s is
Yeah.
what I would guess. We ended up dredging through a trash pile that was probably from the 80s, and and that there's not enough activity, flooding wise, for there to be much gold, in that short a period of time. Like, it just didn't accumulate enough for it to be worth it for us. And,
Right. Yeah, no, this creek is definitely interesting in that, like, we're looking for where the ancient channel was, where like the most gold has been deposited on clay or bedrock or whatever lowest impermeable layer there is. But that also coincides with where the creek currently is, and that's not always the case. And I think upstream here, where we had the boat originally, like, there was a little bit of overlap where we found that really good gold and that really big nugget, where the ancient channel and the current channel are the one and the same there. And then as we moved upstream, we moved right out of the ancient channel into some modern, like, flood gold stuff that
Right.
wasn't really worth our time. And I think one of our biggest mistakes this season was chasing not great gold. We should have moved the boat down and done some more testing, because, like, I don't know, 4 trips into the season, I had
Right.
already run the 4-inch downstream and tested that clay layer and done pretty well. But we didn't have a conversion for like grams per shift on the 4-inch to grams per shift on the 6-inch. So we
Right.
weren't sure if it was really going to be worth it. Like, if
Yeah,
we
I
moved
just
the
I just remember thinking, like, okay, Brendan's telling me he's getting 1 gram of gold in an hour or in a
hour,
shift
2 hours on the 4,
on the
yeah.
4-inch. Like, is it worth moving the boat for a gram or two of gold with the 6-inch? And, like, the answer is probably no, but not really taking our time and, like, thinking this process through, like, that there's a factoring that occurs when you introduce the 6-inch.
Right. Yeah. The area of hose that we have is like over double the 4-inch with the 6-inch, and so we're moving double the dirt, double the water,
And you're only
potentially
pulling
double the
away,
gold,
right, and you're only pulling away half as many rocks, because with the 4-inch, like, you're un you're manually moving rocks all the
Yeah.
time.
Half the time you're on the 4, you're pulling rocks out of it, because all of the rocks in this river are like between 4 and 6 inches.
Right.
So it seems like there's a lot more effort that goes into running the 4, and it doesn't move as much dirt. And so, but now we kind of know, like, so if we want to move, or we run out of the good gold in the future, we've got the 4 to test with. And, like, if we get half a gram to a gram per shift on the 4, we know, oh, that's like 4 to 6 grams on the 6-inch.
Right.
That's probably worth our time getting down there
Right.
and dredging it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that, there was other things. I brought the 6 inch up here on my own, because we got it in the city I live in. And so I came up on my own with my son, and, that first trip, I lost a foot valve, and then had to, you know, didn't have a spare foot valve, so I had to, what you can do, in case you guys didn't think of this, and I'm sure all of you have, because just from your comments, seems like a lot of you are experienced miners, prospectors.
Right.
You can sink a tote with like some big cobblestones in it that won't go up the intake, and kind of pin your intake in there, and that'll keep your, you sink the tote, that keeps it full of water, keeps the gravels out of it, and I was able to run that way for a little bit until I I sucked in gravels and filled the tote up with gravels, and then luckily they were big enough that they got stuck right at the where the pump housing goes in, and before they got through the impeller.
Yeah, didn't chew up a brand new impeller.
Didn't chew up a brand new impeller. Walked the creek, looked for the foot valve, and I didn't find it.
Yeah, I actually came up a couple of trips later and found that foot valve because I had put the 4 in downstream to do some more testing in that nugget hole, and I'd set all my stuff on the side of the boat, and then I like tripped over a rock and knocked everything into the creek, and I was able to grab a few things, but my diving mask just went on downstream, and so I was running down the river chasing my mask, and ended up finding the foot valve first and then the mask, and I was like, oh sweet, we're good to go.
Right.
Yeah. Lots of goofy stuff like that happens. We've had some issues with the not getting the pressure hose onto the log far enough, and so they'll just, one of them randomly pops off and starts spraying water all over.
And there's
the
so much pressure coming off of those
holy
pumps.
cow, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't realize it. It happened to me also on that trip. I think it was on that trip, or maybe it was on a trip where I was just dredging by myself and you were down working the 4-inch. And I think that's what it was. We were up higher, you were down lower on the 4-inch at like the old nugget hole, and I was up further up this way, and I'm dredging, and like it's going okay, but I keep feeling like, like water splashing me on the back through my dry suit. But sometimes, like if you're on the top of the current, like, and there's some rapids,
there'd be waves and random
the waves will like hit your head and splash over, and you'll feel it hit your back. But I noticed this was like kind of rhythmic, like, it would like, I would feel it and then it would go away, and then I would feel it and then it would go away. And so I came up and looked behind, and there was just this, I think it's 2.5 inches coming off of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it steps down from a 3 to a 2, I think.
Yeah.
So it's 2 inches, just like
fire
waving
hose.
A fire hose, just waving through the air. And so then, I get up, run over there, you probably trip and fall running over there. And
oh yeah,
lots of falls, it's,
oh yeah,
I mean, it's dangerous out here. And I noticed, especially yesterday and today, or yesterday and the day before, when you're dredging, you're moving, the big, obviously, anything 6 inches and above won't fit through the nozzle, and some of them are big rocks, 24 inches, and you move those back, but before you bring the boat up and it fills in with tailings, it's treacherous in there. The best thing is once like you've run the boat over top of it and all the tailings have filled in all those gaps, and you can just,
yeah, but when the bottom is made out of cobbles like this big with rounded smooth edges,
right,
and our boots are smooth and slippery, and we just punch, kick
yes,
rocks with our toes and fall all the time, and
for sure,
I'm pretty prone to self-injury, and I've banged my hand up moving some rocks,
right,
and tripped,
you fell
and
down,
hit my knee, and
caught yourself on
caught
bedrock.
myself weird on bedrock and just sliced open my hand this season too. Yeah, it's a little rough time up here sometimes, but
when you get out of the water,
you're cold,
you're tired,
your energy is just gone,
right,
you're drained. Yeah,
I'm envious of you guys that get to work in warm climates. I think that, if I could ever, just get down there and see some of you guys in California. Obviously, you can't dredge there, but, New Zealand, places like that. I mean, it would just be, that'd be amazing. And Brendan and I are trying to put something like that together in the next couple of years to get outside and kind of experience, what gold mining's about in other places, and how you guys do things. And it's always, that's one of my favorite, kind of interactions with our viewers and the people that comment is like, how do you gold mine in Fiji, or things like that.
Right.
So keep those comments coming and keep telling us about that stuff, because it's interesting. It's good to share, and like we're all trying to do the same thing, and
it's such cool stuff to learn about too, because like the kind of dredging we're doing up here in Alaska is so different from some of the dredging I've seen in other places. And like some places you're not allowed to dredge, sure, but that doesn't stop people from getting underwater and sniping, or using yabby pumps to soak out bedrock crevices and like all this cool stuff. And like we're all about it. We're about prospecting regardless of the style or whatever. So traveling the world and trying out some different stuff and learning from all you cool people that are like doing your own thing in your different locations around the states and other places. And that'd just be super cool to try out and learn. And like we're obviously not experts, as you could tell from our goof ups this season. And like I don't know if we'll ever be like expert miners. I think it's a hobby that always has more to learn. There's always something to grow into and get better at, right? Like, so we we're looking forward to that.
And we're super fortunate that we have some people like kind of close to us that have a lot more experience than us, and can
the mentors in our lives kind of like helping us along in the right direction, and having to laugh when we mess up, but like kind of pointing us back in like you should try this next time, and it'll go a lot smoother.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting industry. I think that a lot of people that you meet kind of like, gold miners and prospectors can be a standoffish bunch. Maybe some guys that like to spend time on their own out in the woods, or or maybe protecting the resource that they have, so they don't want to share a lot of information, or and I totally get that. And then but we've run across a lot of guys that are just like recognize a passion for the hobby and the interest, and are like, I share that passion also. Like let's collaborate, see how we can do this better, and where we can do it better, and maybe explore other options and collaborations. So that's something that I really appreciate.
I think that's kind of our season in a nutshell. Lots of learning, lots of mistakes, and we're really looking forward to spring next year, when we can come back and keep working that clay downstream and keep finding some good gold. And we can't tell you how much it means that people actually want to like watch us come up here and play around in the woods doing something that we already love doing. But all your subscriptions are super important to us. All the comments, we love responding and having conversations with our viewers and stuff. So keep the comments coming. Feel free to like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and stay notified of when we do come back in the spring, because we're going to start off strong. Hopefully we're going to be right back in that clay, getting some good gold, and hopefully some off-season improvements to the gear and whatnot.
Yeah, I think so. And we're always open to suggestions there too. If you see something that you think would be a good addition to our our setup, let us know. That's we're always open to suggestions and improvements. And
absolutely, feel free to leave a comment with any questions or thoughts or ideas you have. We'll give it a shot, because like you said, we're just learning. We're not experts. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us this year, and I guess we'll see you next season.
All right, thanks guys.